forever be remembered for his 2-day state visit to Uganda in November 2018. The pontiff, who hailed from Argentina, died at the age of 88, and he will be buried today at the Vatican in Italy. And you can also follow the live event on NTV. This will be at midday. The announcement of the next pope is also expected in about a week's time. We continue to pray for his gentle and loving soul to rest in eternal peace. And on Tuesday, the National Unity Platform Party issued an ultimatum to its estranged members, giving them a 30-day window to return to the party secretariat and resolve any outstanding internal disputes or face expulsion and automatically be denied a party ticket in the forthcoming general elections. NUP's Deputy President for Buganda Region, Muwanga Chivumbi, announced the move during a mobilization meeting with Central Region party leaders at the party headquarters at Makerere Kavule. Amidst cheers, he named a number of members of parliament for straying from party ideals, warning that unless they re-engage with the party leadership within the next month, they risk being replaced and decampaigned if they contest on any other political seat. And on Thursday, the National Resistance Movement Party began implementing its internal party electoral roadmap with activities at the village level. This comprehensive guide to mobilization, internal party elections, and safeguarding the party's electoral interests will go on at all political levels. Contenders are expressing interest in leadership positions before party primary elections, which will determine NRM's flag bearers at elections at local government, MP, special interest groups, Central Executive Committee and other levels. And yesterday, Friday, the Electoral Commission began conducting the display of the National Voters Register and registers for special interest groups, including youth, persons with disabilities and older persons at polling stations and village display centers. This exercise is expected to run until the 21st of May, where eligible voters are expected to check and verify their details, correct any errors, raise concerns, and help ensure a credible voters register ahead of the 2026 general elections. Of course, this is also part of the conversation we shall be having, and we'll be hearing a lot more regarding this process from Tolbert Musinguzi, who is here with us. But also on Wednesday, President Yoweri Museveni proposed a breakthrough compromise to end the decades-old conflict between the Japadola and Iteso communities in Tororo. Speaking during a meeting held at State House in Tebe, the president suggested that Tororo municipality be elevated to a city status and maintained as a neutral administrative unit with the establishment of 3 new districts to accommodate both sides. The meeting, which was also attended by the Vice President Jessica Alupo, brought together leaders from the 2 ethnic groups who have long disputed the control and status of Tororo town. What remains to be seen is whether the proposal will be effected through the formal legal process before the 2026 general elections. Gentlemen, over to you now. Very quickly, you could, of course, just pick a few that you feel you would want to respond to. I'll start with you, David, then I'll come to Tolbert.
Judith, it can be sure a disservice if I can just continue without informing the public that while we are here yesterday, the guild president of Kyambogo University, who was exercising his right, his duty, his mandate as guild president, but one who defends the students, he was remanded to Ruzira. I think it is very, very unfortunate that, for example, there are a lot of systems, for example, AIMS, Archimedes, that actually are I think it has just been a program of the government that they have decided to use these systems just like the businessmen had.
Sorry, David, just give us a little bit of context to what we're talking about. What happened that led to him being remanded and so on? Just
like the Constitution of Uganda, which is the supreme law of the country, gives us freedom to peacefully demonstrate under Article 29(1)D that, for example, any gathering, any people can have freedom of association, freedom of assembly. We can actually come up and peacefully demonstrate. These are students in Kyambogo University, led by their able leader, His Excellency, the Guild President, Akiso, plus a few students, like 8. Yesterday, they were paraded to Nakawa Court for protesting against such charges, and then today they are in Ruzira. You can imagine people being students, surely, to be very specific, students to be now, that's where students' freedoms are curtailed, a lot of intimidations to the institutions. Now, because for us, we know that these are like academies. These are the people that we expect to now to take charge of the nation tomorrow.
The Kyambogo Guild president is an NUP person, is affiliated to NUP scheme.
Yes.
Do you think this is a politically motivated move, or it's just random intimidation?
Of course it is, but I want to tell you, Judith, that we are living in the jungle where now it is survival for the fittest. Whoever can leak, for example, the government, then you have your rights. If you don't agree with the government, it doesn't even mean whether you are. Stephen here is not affiliated to any
political party,
but you know how he was battered last time. So it's not a question whether you are affiliated to opposition. We are just in the jungle. There is a predator that is actually very hungry, that is looking up to engulfing everyone. So that is where we are. And it is very, very unfortunate for the young people, for the young men, for the society, for example, for the institutions.
Okay. I think we'll need to talk about this a little later, perhaps. Of course, this is some of the salient issues as we're also getting into 2026. Yes. We would like to also expound and explore more on these kinds of arbitrary arrests, detentions, and so on. We saw this happen in 2021 November. There are concerns and fears that perhaps we could see this happen again, maybe at a bigger scale this time around. But we'll come to that a little later. I'd just like you to quickly run through just the issues that I highlighted, any of them that you would want to respond to. We talked about the Pope, we've talked about the President creating new districts, we've talked about also NUP being tough on members who actually defy the party and so on. You could just address your mind to any of this.
Yeah, I think let me start from, of course, conveying my condolence to the Catholic Church that lost our Pope Francis. He's been one of the role models that we have been looking up to, and surely we pray that it all goes well. I know that we shall be looking for the white smoke at the end of the day. I know the tension right now. The tension right now is very, very high, and we believe we shall get someone, probably, as leadership comes from God. I basically believe that we shall get one who will be his successor and will successfully lead us as the Catholic Church.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me also take this opportunity to welcome Honorable Faith Nakut, who has just joined us. She's our other guest. Faith is the Napak District Woman MP. Good morning.
Good morning, Judith. Good morning, listeners.
I'm going to give you a minute still to catch your breath. I know how tiring our steps can be. Yes. So I'll give the mic now to Tolbert. Tolbert, there were quite a number of issues that I mentioned that I would like you to just pick one of them and talk about. Of course, the electoral roadmap, the updates, I think will fit into our main discussion. But you can just pick one or two issues that you think you would like to comment on, and you just share your thoughts with us.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith. I'd like to congratulate the Christians having successfully gone through the Lenten season and Easter. Easter to the Christians is a sign of love, sign of hope when Jesus resurrected. And the year we are in is a year that we should hold a lot of hope, positive hope, and a lot of love for each other. And at the same time also, still, as the Catholics, we are still mourning for the death of the Holy See, and the burial is today. So we also join the rest in wishing our Holy See a peaceful rest with the angels. Then lastly is on the issue of political parties that are warming up, preparing themselves with we at least have seen a roadmap of the NRM. Us as the Electoral Commission, this is a positive move. Once political parties are well organized, it means they are moving with us. And that's what we need, that's what we are praying for. That we move together as a country, we move together all stakeholders as we venture on our journey for the 2025-2026 general elections.
Thank you very much. So Faith, I don't know if you were listening when I was reading the highlights, but I guess you were on your way here. So we've just mentioned a number of issues, including the Pope's death, of course. He's going to be laid to rest today. We also, I think, let's just talk about, for your case, the NRM internal party electoral roadmap. If there's something you'd like to talk about that, I mean, how is the activity, for instance, taking place in your constituency? How engaging is it? Are you all involved as members of the party, and so on?
Good morning once again.
Morning.
I want to greet my colleagues, the panelists, and also the listeners. First, I wish to submit my sincere condolences to the entire family of the Catholics in the world, particularly in Uganda, upon the passing on of Pope Francis. He was a very good man, a very kind-hearted, down-to-earth. In fact, he practiced the humility that the Catholic Church preaches about. Of all the popes that we've ever had, this one was the easiest to meet. If you see the records of members of parliament, the leaders of Uganda who have visited the Pope, they are more in his time than ever before. And it is something to appreciate, that we leaders should have our doors open for people to interact with us so they can learn from us. Also, one thing that was thrilling to me in the life of Pope Francis was the time when he submitted the apology to the Canadians. Where do you get a Pope who can apologize? A man so respected like him, who is revered so much in the whole world, sending an apology. That kind of humility, that kind of gesture. In fact, the life of Pope Francis is a lesson to all of us, the leaders in the world, that even if we have the power of leadership, we must maintain the respect for humanity. We must maintain the humility. We must do the right things because we pay our allegiance to God the Almighty. May God rest his soul in eternal peace and strengthen all of us as we learn from his life. Is it true the exercise is going on, especially for us in the NRM? The exercise is going on for party primaries at village level, and also the election of party structures. As you know, the NRM structures begin from village level to parish and to district and to national level. So on 24th of this month, our LC1s started picking forms for expression of interest for various positions, for positions of LC1 and also for positions of chairmanship at party structure level. So the NRM roadmap is being rolled across the country. I am aware it is progressing well, even in my district in Napak. Many people are picking interest. It is surprising that Ugandans are charged up to the politics. The interest to participate is overwhelming. In a certain village yesterday, about 40 people had picked interest nomination forms. Imagine for one position of LC1. We have also witnessed the elites who usually observe the election process. They are now picking interest in the leadership right at village level. That is interesting. It is actually a change in the politics of our country. So it can already tell you how then the election will be for position of members of parliament, for position of the president when that time comes. So the NRM launched a roadmap which is being implemented already. It includes, there are two roadmaps. One on how to select the members of the party structures. As you know, the NRM has chairman, an executive committee at village level, and another executive committee at sub-county level, another executive committee at district, and then we have the central executive committee at national. Each of these committees feeds into the next. The voters, the electoral college that will elect the representatives at district level will be the ones coming from the sub-counties. That is one line of our election as the NRM. The other one is the election of flag bearers, the ones that the names that we will submit to the Electoral Commission for the election into the national the structures that are recognized by government. So the process is running concurrently, and unfortunately some people might confuse the two to mean that if you are elected for party structures, you are also being elected to govern as per the Electoral Commission mandate. So I wish to communicate to all those who are listening to mind the difference. So do not deny someone a chance to be your LC1 just because you have made him the chairperson at structure level. That is the problem we have now. There are people who are saying, no, you cannot take all positions. You can actually take 2 or 3. You can be the chairperson or for the party, and also you can be the chairperson for the village, at village level, also at district. So I wish to encourage people to participate. You talked about issues to do with party discipline. It's not easy to enforce party discipline. While we wish that people respect and love their party, one thing with the politics of that we are in now, there is a fear to annoy. We want to have many numbers of people joining our party than many numbers of people exiting. So because of that, political parties wish to dialogue. I was watching recently when NUP was offering a leaf to the members, their members who had who are disgruntled. That is what political parties are going to do everywhere. I'm sure even the NRM has no space to just evict opposition or members who disagree with the party system. Every political party in Uganda wants to recruit. We want more numbers. Actually, for us in NRM, we are saying the bus is not yet full. It can accommodate all of us. So that means even if there are disagreements, there is no political party that doesn't have disagreements, internal disagreements. And maybe there are even more in NRM than there might be in other political parties. We do have them, but we will not take the approach of evicting those who disagree with us. We will negotiate, we will talk over it and see how we can accommodate everyone. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you. David, let me come back to you again. So the NRM party has its roadmap and so on. And last Saturday we had Councillor George Musisi here, and we had a similar conversation about what your internal organizations look like as a party. I don't know if there's any new development in terms of what conversations you're having in terms of having a roadmap so far.
Yeah. To all the listeners, I think it has just been deliberate, and it's good we have the EC officer here. I think why I say it has been deliberate, most of our activities have been delayed because one of the things that we wanted is to have a new constitution of our party. And I can tell you I was part of the meetings, and we met the framers of our constitution. We had our input in the constitution. It has been now 2 years down the road, and that baffles me so much that up to date, the Electoral Commission, calling themselves the Independent Electoral Commission, have failed to gazette our constitution, to the extent that now we are between a hard lock. We are between the lock and a hard place, that we have to look for other avenues on how to operate. So now we are now going back to the old constitution now, which we would not actually wish to use in these preparations. So that has delayed us a little bit, but nevertheless, we are still, for example, we are about to have the NEC, where I am part of the NEC. And we shall have recommendations and resolutions. Therefore, I believe we shall have one of the recommendations is to have the delegates conference, and probably at the right time, given X, we shall come back and communicate. Otherwise, the rest is okay. Just like you had President, His Excellency Robert Sentam Kyagulanyi, recently saying that you go back to the ground. We are in operation, and we cannot relent. We shall continue, much as we know that we are in the jungle. It is survival for the fittest in the politics of Uganda. We are not like the darlings of NRM that may be given some leeway for some other things, but we are preparing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's time for us to take a break, and then when we return, we now dive into the salient issues that are shaping the road to 2026. We shall be hearing a lot more from our panelists here, David Musiri, Honorable Faith Nakut, and Mr. Tolbert Musinguzi. That's after the break. Welcome back from the break. It's 9:37 a.m. This is Viewers People and News, VPN Hero 933 KFM. We're continuing with our discussion on the road to 2026 polls. What are the salient issues? And once again, my guests are David Musiri, who is the head of institutions at the National Unity Platform Party, Honorable Faith Nakut, Napak District Woman MP, and last but not least, Mr. Tolbert Musinguzi, the Electoral Commission Returning Officer for Kampala Metropolitan. Before we went to the break, of course, Honorable Faith, you had touched a little bit about issues of internal party, primaries to be specific, and we know, of course, that the NRM primaries have always been quite hot, but also, David, with everything that has happened in the last year or so, we also see NUP quite fragmented. Just from Mwanga Chivumbi's statement recently when he was, castigating members who are, betraying the party, I'll just use it in quotes. We also envisage that the primaries within the NUP camp itself is going to be quite a tough one this time around. We also see many sitting MPs already, regardless of which party they belong to. You have people in your party's top organs rising up to, contest, run against the incumbent ones, people who are wanting to stand for top party positions within NRM alone. Also, I think it's happening within the NUP. These are quite interesting developments that we see, and anyone would say this is healthy for party politics. But just your quick thoughts. Do you think heavy contestations could actually build the party, or would it test the party so much that we actually see maybe some people walking away and getting frustrated? I want to take the example of the Kawempe North by-elections, Honorable Faith, where we saw NRM, what happened on the NRM camp, one person coming up and saying, look, I actually want to contest on the party ticket, and then another one coming up, the Farida coming up, and there were all these contestations of, there are people who have godfathers who are actually having it easier in the party and so on. What do these kinds of dynamics mean for the party?
Actually, you are right to say there's a process of party primaries, everyone wanting to fight for space, people contesting, desiring to contest for which position indeed breaks the party. It tests the party's ability to contain difficult times. That is the truth. In fact, the option of headhunting flag bearers is the easier option. But because the NRM, within its 4 principles, there is a principle of democracy. One of the key issues that NRM wants to be seen to be doing is democracy. So the option of headhunting flag bearers cannot work because we will be disobeying what we is set to do by ourselves. So we will go through the election process, and indeed we expect that people will get angered, the party will be affected. And that is the reason why the NRM Electoral Commission decided that we will have our party primaries earlier, more than 8 months to the national election, so that there is room for harmonization, for healing, party healing, for solving cases, for hearing disputes. From the time the election will happen for party flag bearers for the members of parliament, NRM has set aside 45 days before the national nominations for the members of parliament, so that there is enough time for which the complaints can be heard. So indeed, complaints will be there. The manner in which they will be handled determines how people will participate in the national election. As you know, every contestant has their people. You cannot come to an election when you don't have the people that you carry along. So our party, the NRM, is cognizant of that fact and would not wish to lose anyone in the process.
Mm-hmm. To you, what does this mean for your party cohesion and its strength going forward?
For me, I think the high contestation is actually very positive. It is progress. And it is not a challenge. The challenge is how you resolve after the high contestation. It's what is very important. For example, for those people who think that they should have angels, no misunderstandings, I think it's not on this planet. Even when we are family, like we're married, you can disagree at a certain given time X. So that's why actually in our constitution there is also, in the Multi-Party and Organization Act, there is code of conduct. So for one to come and of course caution and warn MPs who have disagreed, because we have, for example, NUP has values. We have a political ideology that we follow. So we cannot just get any Tom and Dick anywhere. So we must have control on how we operate. You know, the modus operandi should be known. Therefore, for us, we think what is most important is how we resolve, how we come out, how we can get that time to heal from the high contestation. And that is very important. That's why they are looms. That up to now, this is not for when they issued the ultimatum of 1 month, for example, for one that I would regard as now they are returning themselves to the rebels of the party. I believe that even NRM has rebel MPs and all other parties. Anyway, we can just disagree. But this ultimatum comes at a time when they have been cautioned very many times. They have been invited for sittings. It is room to listen to them. They deserve a right to be heard. Before you make any resolution, before you make, you must subject these people to. So
David, you are contesting as well. You're aspiring, right, for the Machindia West?
Yes, Machindia West.
Currently occupied by an NUP. It's actually in the hands of NUP. Of course, also other key party figures are looking at occupying certain positions. You have the KCCA Speaker, Zahara, Machindia Division Mayor, Ali Kasiri. But we know that NUP does not hold elective primaries like NRM and other parties. The power to determine who carries the flag rests solely with the Electoral Committee. Is that a fair process?
That's what I was saying, that it has just been deliberated by the Independent Electoral Commission, that they have delayed us because we have a new constitution that was not given chance.
The Electoral Commission,
yes, it
that
is.
Tolbert is representing today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we submitted our constitution where all that you are talking about is there. You cannot run, for example, modules, because now you are talking about modules on how to arrive to the right or candidate or the flag bearer. For them, it is actually in their constitution. How do we run with a constitution that it is not talked about? It is not embedded in the constitution. Now, that's why I have been telling you it is in the jungle. That's why I'm telling you it is deliberate. Maybe we want to sometime assume that the independent electoral commission is not actually independent, but might be also partisan. Maybe it is favoring a certain group or party to run successfully. Because that's why people who come with accusations, now you are doing vetting. But also, we know that there are very many modules in democracy. Actually, harmonization or reaching a consensus is one of the democratic practices that we can, Judith, I and you, we can be running for the same position, but we can stand to agree. We say, who is the best? Everyone knows that in March in the West, Musiri David Boji is the best. Then the rest lives for me.
The other candidate will also say the same, that everyone knows I am the best.
That's why we go to the people. That's why sometimes there is that avenue to go to the people, make research, benchmark, because we know everyone, people are selfish.
Thank you.
Yeah.
David, I'll come back to you. Tolbert, David says you've just heard what he's saying, and he thinks the Electoral Commission is deliberately frustrating NUP from actually having elective primaries internally. What's your say?
Thank you so much, Judith. It's not us. It's not us. When this issue of the Constitution came up, the Electoral Commission was moving very well with all the parties in NUP, until one of them went to court. And once the issue went to court, we were hands off.
Just give us the specifics of the court case, just for the benefit of.
I would not want to.
No. Just a little bit. Of course, you don't want to go into the
Maybe
details
the
of what the parties involved in this case, who versus who, and what's just a little bit of background that would not be tantamount to sub judice.
Yes. What we know is that we have a group. He will add on this because he's more of an authority in their party than me. That comprises of the so-called the old NUP holders and then the new NUP holders. The old NUP holders said no, this is the constitution that is running. They did not go through the proper structures through which we make our constitution. Then the new people said no, we also had the structures, we went through the committees, how our rules say, how we form our constitutions. So once it came to that, then said let's go for remedy in court. So it is still in court. We are waiting. As soon as it is done, then we shall move on with them. So it's not true, Bwana Musiri, that it is us. The issue is no longer with the Electoral Commission, it's with the court. So once that one is done, surely you will progress. So it's not us frustrating you as the Electoral Commission, it's the timelines that are in court. That is on the issue of the
Constitution
of the Constitution of NUP. So as the Electoral Commission, we are moving. The roadmap is on. The countdown is on. We are, as the Electoral Commission, we are moving Article 61(2) of the Constitution provides that EC shall hold presidential, parliamentary and local government elections in the first 30 days of the last 122 days to the expiry of the term of office of the current office. And it expires on the 12th of May 2026. Now, when we do this math, it brings us to the January and Feb of 2026 to have finished elections. Now, elections, like we always say, is not an event. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
To reach this, actually, the elections start in June this year with the 6 elections. That is why we must have a credible and fully updated national voters register. That is what has brought us to the display now that we are on, which was officially launched yesterday by the Commission, which is going to run for 21 days in the field from the 25th, which was yesterday, to the 15th of May. We are displaying national voters register at all polling stations in the whole country. We have 38,315 polling stations across the country. We are also displaying 6 registers. You've heard of Honorable Nakut and their roadmap that they are at the village level moving on. We are going to display the 6 registers at every village in the country. That is the youth, PWD, and older persons. What is the purpose of the display and why is it so important? Judith and all listeners of KFM, we had demarcations of electoral areas where we had reorganization of the councils and where people will be standing. We had reorganization of polling stations where we did an audit of all the polling stations in the country, confirming where they were, are they still there. We are looking at the numbers. We looked at the names. So we did an overhaul of all the polling stations. And we have since gazetted all these. People now know which polling stations are in their areas and people know which electoral areas. Now, the most important issue that is so fundamental to any election is the register. The people who are going to vote. So, for you to have an election that can be described as a credible one, you must have a credible register. So now we are displaying for all Ugandans to confirm, one, that they exist in this register. Those who asked for transfers during the update, come and confirm that your transfer was effected. Those who are fresh voters of 18 years whom we registered, as you remember, Judith, we had the cut-off on 17th of Feb.
Mm-hmm.
So all those who were registered, come and confirm that you exist in the register. Even us who have been voting, let's come and confirm, one, that where we are voting from, we are still there because we did the organization. Let's confirm where exactly our box is going to sit. Then also we're going further ahead to ensure that, one, we get out those who are not supposed to be in the register, especially those who have since left us, the dead, those who have migrated from our areas in the parishes, in the villages, who no longer belong there. But all this information must be provided to us with evidence. Whoever is going to come to us and say so and so left the area, you come with evidence. Now, so what will that mean? It will give us the exact population, the exact number of voters that the honorables will know are appearing in their electoral areas. At the end of the display exercise, the Commission will be able to inform the country how many registered voters do we have and who are going to participate in the coming elections. Per polling station, per village, as it comes to the 6. When you come to us, we have this exercise is running from every 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, including the weekends and the public holidays. Once you reach to us and you have any issue that you want to be attended to, the display officer has been provided with the relevant forms where your issue will be captured. If you are raising an issue saying so and so has since left us, there is a form that you will fill. If you want to tell us that a person migrated, there is a form you will fill. If you ask for transfer and the transfer has not been effected, you have confirmed in the register, there is a form you will fill for it to be effected. If you have not verified, you had come to us as far as your biodata is concerned, and you had requested for certain amendments and they have not been made, it is a form you will fill for them to be effected. Because we are going for nominations, and the nominations call for clear identification of who you are when you come to us. Nominations start in June for the SIGS elections. For you to participate in the SIGS elections, you must be in the National Voters Register. So this whole exercise actually is for all of us. Those who want to contest, you need to know which people are in the register. You need to know the people who are going to second you, those who are going to propose you, those who are going to be your supporters. Just I can tell you, as the Electoral Commission, we get very interesting situations at the time of nomination. The person comes, like Mr. Msiri, we say you are standing for Member of Parliament, or you are standing for LC5, there is a certain number of supporters we want. You reach the nomination desk, and the persons they have presented to us are not in the register, are not in the electoral areas where they want to contest. Because some certain categories of elective offices call for particular supporters from particular electoral areas. So the person comes and says, I have presented my 30 supporters, they are here. Then once we go through, but they don't belong to the electoral area.
So, but just hold the thought a second. When we come back, you will you'll give us a lot of the other interesting scenarios. Let's take a break, and then we'll be back. Welcome back from the break. This is VPN. The road to 2026 polls. What are the salient issues? That's what we're talking about this morning with Mr. David Musiri, Honorable Faith Nakut, and Tolbert Musinguzi. Tolbert, I'll come back to you in a minute. Before we went to the break, of course, you were highlighting these very important issues, some of the irregularities that actually affect someone's candidature or the success of their, nomination and so on. But just very quickly, what I picked from your submission was the lack of civic education or lack of civic awareness that citizens have, both voters and those seeking for elective positions have. But I'd also want to hear David's experience. David, during the break, you were also talking about something interesting about in relation to what Tolbert had earlier submitted. If you could actually share it with us right now.
Yeah, Judith and listeners, I was just telling, because I am very, very factual, because I've always been on ground, I have been to by-elections, so it is two-way. There are candidates actually that are very lazy. They can't go to the ground to get supporters, to get seconders. And before you know, one of the incidences we had, it was in Hoima, with my brother, Honorable Aguda Moses, where we reached there and supporters were not there. We had run to the ground and get seconders. So, but why I said it is two-way, but also there was an incident where actually our supporters in a certain constituency were given to the opponent of that, because you actually get people from the same field. If I'm nominating from Machi in the West, then also my other opponents are getting this same seconders. That is what they need, because they are lazy. What they do, either they bribe or I don't know. Sometimes that's why I say we are in the jungle, Again, this person can get the same list that I have submitted. It is given to her or him, and then for me, when I come back, they say, you don't have enough seconders, you don't have enough supporters.
These ones have been taken.
These have been taken. They don't actually tell you that they have been taken. They say, you need to bring enough. So, by what he says, that word is very amorphous. When you say not enough, what is enough? Because what is enough, it is speculated there. It is actually written. Is stipulated there. It is given a number.
Yes.
But what they say, what is enough, that number can be given to some other person. Then you have to go get other numbers, get another numbers, up to infinity. When will you get enough?
What's the number?
10.
For the MPs, it's 10 from the electoral area.
Okay, so maybe you need to have a backup of 20. So
Just
that if
in case.
10 are stolen from you, you still have
A reserve of 20.
Yes, but still, again, David.
But those are just, there are two lists. They are you have changed this time, but there are those that are supposed to be seconders, and there is a category. Is it called supporters? Because it is actually more than 100. These few you can get seconders, they can be like 10, but the other ones you get a list of 100, because you have to get from each parish you get like 10 or 15. That is what I saw in 2016.
David, there's a concern here for you. There's just a comment that I want to address to you in particular. Still, the issue of how you handle the fact that party primaries, the fact that you base it on research on the ground on who has more support, on at the grassroots. You also base this on party loyalty, among other criteria for choosing the party flag bearer. We don't know if this will change this time, but for now, this is what prevails within your party. Can you elaborate on what the basis will be and how you are likely to handle, as a party, internal differences arising out of this election procedure? Because you already see there's a lack of clarity. I mean, if someone is a member of your party, they would definitely have a lot of questions of maybe you favor candidate A over B. How are you intending to actually resolve these issues that will emerge?
For example, as I said earlier, that we are going to use the same constitution, so things are not going to change like before. But that's why it was a clarion call to the Electoral Commission that they would have gazetted our constitution, because we don't also want to seem to be like how it is, because it is self-explanatory to everyone that there is lack of clarity somewhere. How you go and make a research of whether people like Musiri or the incumbent.
How do you do it?
Exactly.
How you follow that information, the data, the raw data, the primary data, to where it is supposed to be delivered. Because at one time on a certain station, I was also complaining about it. But what do we do? What do we do if we cannot be given what we need, what we are supposed to have, what we think that in this era, in a .com world, we need to be very, very smart and clear. So we shall not keep on, because we cannot keep on lamenting. At the end of the day, we shall have to deliver.
Yeah.
Maybe I should
now it is a very big challenge.
On that matter, maybe I should ask, just for clarity, those of you who are lawyers, me I'm not, me I'm an accountant. Is there anything that stops NUP from doing an election, even if there is no constitution?
Internally,
party primaries? So fairness sake, because now I imagine the challenges where the party has to add and do research. Is it even done? And then the whole allegation that somebody has been bribed. That's why a flag was given to so on. So, is there anything that stops NUP legally?
Yeah, true. A political party, for it to be registered, among the requirements they have to submit to the Electoral Commission is a constitution which governs them. Now, they have a constitution that they based on for the 2021 general elections, the one they are running on. Now, they have made a new constitution with amendments here and there. For example, is quoting the mode of selecting candidates.
Yes.
That they were now, I think you want to go for open primaries, because contest and campaign from the selection, which is now on the constitution that is currently active. So they can run with the old constitution, but without a constitution, a party will not be registered.
Some information
are you trying to say they can actually hold primaries as a party?
Without headhunting?
No, now they are still on their old constitution, which we have.
Which requires headhunting.
Which requires the selection process they are doing.
Actually, it gives much powers to the executive,
which is very, very risky for
and for your information.
And some of the members of the executive are also vying for elected positions.
That's where
the conflict of interest.
We are conflicted. And I want to tell you, a constitution is the manual. Yes. It's the manual. Whatever you do, much as that it must, of course, there is a supreme law of the country, which is the Constitution of Uganda. You don't go beyond the Constitution of Uganda. But whatever you put in your Constitution is what you do. You don't say, I'm going to do vetting, and they find you
doing something else.
Parading people, lining them up that you are doing what? So that is where we have a challenge. Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So,
Just like us in the NRM.
Yes, I actually want to come to you also, Honorable. Many times we've seen NRM talk really tough when members decide to stand as independents, okay? And they say, no, we're going to expel these people out of the party. They are no longer members. They've gone against the party. But when they win as independents, they are still welcomed back to the party. So what kind of message? There's so much confusion. When do you actually mean what you say as a party? Because if someone has defied you, whether they've won or not, you've already said we don't want you. You've gone against the party interests. You've betrayed the party. Why do you again want them back?
That's a real tricky one. First, on the issue of the Constitution. As a matter of fact, the last time the NRM Constitution was reviewed, it opened the window for lining up as a means for identifying flag bearers. Currently, most members don't like it, because they think that it makes people know whom you voted for, and they think that it is bad. But we cannot change. Even if they don't want the lining up, as far as I know, we will use the lining up for these party primaries because it sits in our constitution and we haven't reviewed it. So on the issue of independence, that has been a thorn in the flesh of the party. The last time that issue was discussed, there was no serious resolution because they are in charge of cabinet, and then it becomes really difficult that you can send away these people who are very important to the party. So we have had a discussion and the consolation that perhaps the digitalization of the NRM register that has happened will help close the gaps within the election system of the party structure of the party. The complaint the independents have is that the party primaries were not fair. The absence of the register made it difficult for them to win the election. That's why they had to run. They've put a case that the party primaries in the last election were not fair. And of course, we are aware that at that time, our party chairman allowed all Ugandans to vote, regardless of whether you are an NRM or no NRM, where everybody had to line up because we had issues with the party register. There is only hope that now with the updated party register, we will have a fair election and maybe fewer or no people going to run as independent. Our party has already put up has issued a statement that independents, people who will participate in the party primaries will be asked to sign consent that they will not run for independent. Of course, it has already received negativity. That communication, people are rejecting it. They are saying, "Who are you to stop us from participating? Our legal right to contest if the party structure is not fair." So whether people will sign, the candidates will sign to that agreement before going for party primaries, I do not know. But I am sure that whoever will win the election will work with the NRM.
Okay, thank you. Let me come back to you, Tolbert. We had cut you short because we had to take a break earlier, but you had started a very interesting line of discussion that even your colleagues in here wanted you to continue with, because I think the thinking is that's also an extension of civic education.
Yes.
Some of the challenges that you say, the things you see, there are lots of anomalies or irregularities that you see as the Electoral Commission when people present themselves as candidates seeking nomination for elective positions. You had talked about the issue of people coming with supporters who are not even registered.
Yes.
What else do you see happening many times during these election seasons?
Thank you so much, Judith. So, the issue of the election, all these that we are doing now are preparatory stages that form the foundation of an election. The demarcation, the reorganization, the update of the register. Now the final one that we are doing is the display, where now we are going to clearly identify who is going to participate in the election. This affects all of us, because once your particulars are not clear in the register, you will not do any of this. Actually, you can't enter the election room. You will not access a polling station once your particulars are not clear. And the time is now. Like you're talking about civic education, it is for all of us. And I would call upon political parties and all those who are aspiring to be candidates in the election, please take time, go and confirm that the person we are seeing here, the Judith Atim, is the same Judith Atim who is in the register. The same Judith Atim who is going to appear before a nominating officer. The same Judith Atim who is known by UNEB, who is known by National Council for Higher Education, who is known by NIRA. This is the time to ensure that we are all talking the same language. Now, there's I was talking about the display. Now, once all these recommendations have been given to us, there is a process called the tribunal process, natural justice process, which takes place at the parish level. It is also very key, and I would call upon all stakeholders to also pay attention to it. This is where the final decision is made before it reaches the returning officer, before it reaches the commission, that so and so should be deleted from the register. So and so's particulars, yes, they should be corrected. So it's a composition of 5 people, eminent people in the villages and our parishes, and usually we talk of
But Toba, just before you proceed, your EC chairman, Simon Biawakama, yesterday he was addressing the media, and he said that at least 620 polling stations across the country will not commence the display exercise due to technical glitches.
Yes.
So what are these glitches exactly that the EC did not foresee as you were rolling out the plan for the update, and how is this going to affect the process?
They are technical, as he mentioned them. They have to do with the network. You know, the printing process, sending information from one section to another. But it is being worked on. It is being worked on.
So these affected areas, will there be an extension for the update exercise in these areas beyond the deadline, the national deadline? Definitely,
because these areas are known and they have been well mapped out.
Okay.
They are not starting with the rest. When we talk of 21 days, these are mandatory. They are not a creation of the Electoral Commission. It's a creation of the law. 21 days, display of the National Voters Register. So if they start on Monday, it means there will be 3 days less. So they'll have to be given their 3 days so that they get...
so what if there's a question here, what if we experience similar glitches during nomination day or polling day?
No. By the time we reach the polling day, the register is produced earlier. Register will be produced earlier. And the register actually for polling day comes out even when we're doing nominations. That's the same register that will be used.
All right.
Yes. So
okay, let's carry on.
Ugandans should not be worried by this. It is being worked on. So we had talked of the tribunal. Members should follow up that we have the 2 elders and 3 members, eminent members in the parish, who verify. Now, this exercise will run from the 16th of May to the 26th of May at all parishes to look at what has come from the polling stations or registers. Display, why we're saying it is very important, we are going to have for all the people, you the candidate, the proposer, the seconder, the campaign manager, must be registered voters. You the candidate, the proposer, the seconder, the campaign manager, and should be from that electoral area. We know, for you to contest, the issue is you must be a registered voter anywhere in Uganda.
Yeah, it is.
So even if you're a registered voter in Kabong, but now you want to contest, because the issue is either you contest where you reside or where you originate. So if you're a registered voter anywhere in Uganda, you can contest. But the issue would be, for you to vote for yourself, you must be in the register of that electoral area. And you are assigned a polling station. So when we did the demarcation, especially for local councils, please, all those who want to contest, confirm that you're in your electoral areas. And that all these people you're going to bring come from that electoral area. Different offices demand different number of supporters. For MPs, there are 10 supporters, in addition to the proposer, the seconder, and the campaign manager. All these must come from that electoral area. When you come, for example, to LOC5, we're looking at 2/3 of your electoral area. A district, and your electoral area is the sub-counties. How many sub-counties do you have? And we are looking at a number of them. So that's why you find a person comes, when we want 150 signatures, your electoral area is the district. So if you concentrate on one sub-county and you get all of them from one sub-county, when we reach us, we shall do the math. And say, but you have 15 sub-counties.
Why are you picking from one?
We have seen only from one.
It's not representative.
It's not representative of the 2/3 we're talking about. So please, you go back. The same with the mayors in cities, in municipalities.
You have many words.
When you have many words, we say, please, now the person goes and gets supporters. Now, even those he or she has brought, like what he said, they have not verified their names. They have given you names, they have been captured wrongly. Now, what I want to assure our listeners is that the Electoral Commission, we are thorough at verifying these issues. Sometimes, like Mr. here addressed an issue when we are about to political parties being delayed to be issued certificates of registration. And we say the signatures are not enough. And then they come out and say, hey, I went myself. I got my signatures from all the districts and submitted them to the Electoral Commission. Let them come to our offices and get the evidence. Most of these signatures, the people they get, give them wrong names. Don't belong to those electoral areas. We are talking of a district, if at presidential level. Now, if we are saying we want supporters from Wakiso, I'm verifying supporters from Wakiso. But those you have brought me don't belong to Wakiso. So I will call them and they will say, no, we are not aware. We are not aware. We don't stay in Wakiso, so we are not aware. And that would be a remark. So when these figures come to us and we say, no, we are not matching the 2/3 of the whole country. Say, no, we brought this. So this is the issue. Let the supporters you are going to get be in the National Voters Register. Get time to verify them before you come to Electoral Commission. Secondly, we are having deadlines. For example, the 28th of April is the deadline for resignation of public servants wishing to contest in special interest groups, SIGs. Now, all public servants and who want to contest in SIGs elections by the 28th of April should have resigned. But what does resignation mean?
It's a hard decision.
What does resignation mean?
It's a hard paper.
In the eyes of the law. Does it mean the day you submit your resignation to your HR manager?
It's the day you exit the job.
What does exit mean legally? Does it mean the day you say, I have packed my things and gone.
No.
It looks at when you got your release letter. When the institution you're working for
discharged you.
Said, no, Judith, thank you so much for the time you have been with us. We wish you all the best in your new endeavors. But there is a statutory deadline. Let's look at our personnel manuals. Do you just take the letter, drop it there, and you are released? Some say we need 60 days. Some say we need 90 days. When we do the math, I'm telling you, there are people outside there who have gotten injured by these deadlines. Someone has even won an election. We have court cases.
True.
And they have been gotten out of parliament. Honorable knows.
We have our chairman, one of our chairman who got evicted because of that issue of
resignation. So we are telling, this is the time.
After winning an election.
We are telling everybody that we are displaying the National Voters Register. At the same time, the roadmap is on. It is up. Come and confirm. When we talk of members of parliament, deadline for resignation of public servants intending to contest for parliamentary elections, 13th June. What does it mean? You want to contest for member of parliament, 13th June. Now you do the math. If you're a government employee, do the math.
So it means by 13th June you will have been released by government.
You have received your release letter.
Okay.
So now go to the personnel manual and find out. How many days do you need?
So there's a concern here as well. We know this is a time for parties to be mobilizing. You know, NRM does it a lot. They do their mobilization tours. Of course, the president is always moving around. NUP had started, and last week police blocked them, stopped them from actually engaging. And the concern is that EC plays politics when it's NRM, that is, when the ruling party is actually doing its work. The EC doesn't actually have anything much to say, but when opposition parties begin to actually, you know, play their political duties, then the EC, which should actually come out and encourage, because this is actually provided for. Political mobilizations are allowed, not so.
Yes.
So, but we've not heard the EC actually come out and say, look, police, you've blocked NUP from mobilizing supporters at the grassroots, from holding workshops and so on. This is wrong. You actually are blocking a civic process, a political process, which is actually provided for by the law. What do you say about this? Are you being fair enough to opposition parties?
It's not us. Because it is very clear from your submission that police has blocked some political parties. The issue would be to interrogate why police has blocked. Because you see, there is when we go into this especially political season, all players, especially the active players, hold a mind that some laws are no longer active. The issues we get during nominations, we say, yes, we have nominated you. Yes, you are a candidate. But other laws of the country are moving on. Traffic laws must be respected.
Exactly.
You can't say because you're a candidate.
But NRM moves all the time.
That's where I was going.
So do the laws apply selectively?
No.
Maybe Thomas should tell us. You should tell us the roadmap. When do parties begin to do mobilization?
Yes.
And when do they end? So that we don't confuse the two. NRM being in power in government means you can easily confuse the normal work that the executive does to deliver services to the people with party mobilization. There has to be a distinction. Tell us, when do parties begin mobilization for election?
Now, there is something called the Public Order Management Act. It tells us how we are supposed to behave.
That was nullified. It is no longer in existence.
I'm moving closer to that. It says initially what was nullified was the issue of saying you need the clearance. Those are the sections that were nullified. But they're saying you notify. Now, when you notify, you are informing an agency that is in charge.
To protect you.
Yes, that is in charge of managing order. It is like when you're informing them, they'll say, oh, okay, very good. Now, you have informed us that you're going to have a public function at this place. Let us assess how safe are you when you go to this place. Mm-hmm. So if from the assessment they discover that no, you are how many numbers? Okay, 30 you can go to a hall and talk. Maybe 50. So it is up to them, because they have the structure, they have the infrastructure to ensure that you have a peaceful function. So let us interrogate and find out. When they submitted the letter for notification, we'd find the agency in charge of protecting them said you're not safe at this time. So, hold on. Now, that's not the Electoral Commission. That is an agency that is doing its work. The election year is on. Party mobilization is on, because we are entering into nominations. And we are aware that parties are doing internal mobilization. But you have to do it within the precincts of the law. We cannot go beyond the law, because we are parties and we are mobilizing. Let's find out, because they are saying that NRM moves on, and we shall ask and find when NRM is moving, it has been granted the space, and it has fulfilled all the conditions that are required to do that function. Mm-hmm. So it's an issue of us, all the stakeholders working together. Mm-hmm. It's an issue of all the stakeholders involved in this election business working together.
Thank you.
And this calls for parties, calls for EC, calls for police, calls for media, civil society organizations. Let us all work together.
Thank you. Thank you, Tolbert. Let's take a break, and then Stephen will let me know what time we are opening our phone lines. Someone has sent me a message asking if our lines will be open. They want to call in. Let's take a break. Welcome back. Welcome back from the break. It's 10:37 a.m. Our studio lines will be opening shortly. 0393 933 933, 0393 262 933, 0393 262 934, 0393 266 933, 0701 933 934. 0751 933 900. Do give us a call. We're talking about the road to the 2026 polls. What are the salient issues? We have NUP represented, we have NRM represented, we have the Electoral Commission here. Hello, KFM.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Bright Miles from Namugongo.
Sorry, who is this?
Bright Miles from Namugongo.
Yes, Miles from Namugongo.
Yes, I would like to inquire for Mr. Tribert. Is there a gazetted law?
We lost him. We lost Miles. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Judith.
Good morning. May I know who I'm talking to?
I'm speaking to Frank here in Mukono.
Frank in Mukono, please proceed.
I wanted to find out from Buana EC if for this case, I don't know, at this time, are there chances of one again applying for transfer to another, let's say, another police station of a different place? Because if, for example, I did make a transfer and someone is planning to contest in another area far away from the previous one, can that person also contest? Yes.
Okay. You'll be having your answer shortly. Yes, hello?
Yes, Judith. Good morning.
Good morning. Is this Michael?
Yes.
Yes, Michael Ekode.
Yeah, thanks for that, sir.
You're welcome.
Now, if he's in the hot seat, and have two concerns for him. One, on the day of nomination,
we have had EC receiving documents, academic documents from the aspirants at different levels of positions in the country. What's their role in the verification of this academic document? Because we have seen concern where this aspirants or the candidate has been taken to court with EC about the academic issues. Then two, who invites UPDF in our election? Does this bother EC? Because we have had UPDF, whenever UPDF intervenes in our election, they've ended up violently. Does this bother them? Then finally to Mr. Musiri, I last met him last year in the studio there in the VPN. And I've followed him so much. NUP, my question for him about NUP, how they are handling the internal conflicts. For me, I think there should not be intimidation because you need these people. If they have added the value in the party, there should be a way how we talk to them, but not a way how I had Colonel Chivumbi, how he was talking, how to, at the alternate Saturdays and how he was talking. For me, I think there should be a way of consensus. Talk to them as you're calling a wife to be, a woman to be your wife. Go through and talk to them, they come back to the party.
Thank you. Okay. I think in the interest of time, it's 10:41. I'll just allow you people to respond. Tolbert, the questions are for you mostly. Frank says, are there chances for one to change their polling station this time around in this update, in this display exercise that you're conducting? Michael says, on nomination day, EC receives education documents, but we still later hear candidates having...
Juma is on.
Okay, Juma. Yes, Juma.
Good morning.
Good morning, Juma.
Yes, I would like also EC to help us by this issue how ruling party normally deploy their forces to surround NUP headquarter offices. We are seeing NUP headquarter office. It is also like a classroom within the Electoral Commission school. Now, if these laws are being applied differently, that the opposition is having that big magnitude of attracting the public and the big treated the losing misfortune and impunity by the state apparatus, which is very bad. We have to condemn. So I need easy voice on such incidents. Because when they go out to the public, they follow them, they arrest them, they are productive as many as possible. Now when they are inside their own office, because they are doing their activities, even in police and army, they are going to spray their guns, they are arrested.
Okay. Thank you, Juma. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Okay, let's just very quickly, Tolbert, let me give you the opportunity to respond to these concerns. Most of these questions are directed at you.
Thank you so much, Judith and the callers. Frank, any room for transfer? Unfortunately, no. The exercise we're on now, we are no longer having any inclusions. No fresh registrations, no fresh transfers.
Only having elimination.
All we have is actually cleaning up. All we are doing now is cleaning up to ensure we remain with those that are supposed to be in the register. So unfortunately, Frank, you'll have to vote from where you are now, or if you have to contest, you contest from where you are now. Michael, on verification of documents. Now, the nomination form is actually a statement that is signed under oath. The law says that for you to contest, Member of Parliament, Senior 6 certificate and above. Actually, the academic documents are on Members of Parliament, Presidential, and the LC5 and the mayors. Our work is to look at a certificate. There is an institution that does the verification, that has the infrastructure to determine what is wrong or right. It's like if you have to say this is counterfeit money, there is an institution that is in charge of counterfeit. So even if you go to court, me and him, we can't say this is counterfeit because we don't we're not mandated to do that. So our work as Electoral Commission, you cannot say this certificate looks to be fake. This one, no. Ours is, have you presented a certificate to us? And remember that presentation is under oath. So we hold in trust you, the candidate, to present to us the ultimate truth about you. So that is where we stop. Now, if you present a falsehood, that's where court comes in and does the remedy. So that is what we do. But that's why, as Electoral Commission, in our roadmap, we set the deadlines, the dates. Please, if you know that you've not studied in Uganda consecutively, O-level, primary, O-level, A-level, university, please, if you've studied outside Uganda, there is an institution. Go and ensure that your papers are verified and they match our standards. Still, if you studied in Uganda, but after O-level, you've been adding one together and you feel they weigh to the kilograms of the senior 6, please, there is an institution that has that measurement. Go there and have your paper confirmed. Once you present to us, for us, we receive them because you presented them under oath. Who is UPDF in our election?
What do they do? What is their role in our election? Yes.
Now, among the stakeholders that we have, especially in elections, we work hand in hand with the police as the civil force that helps us. Now, police also has a provision in their laws that in their wisdom they have the right to call upon sister security agencies to help them do their work. Like Electoral Commission, we say if we are going to do our work, we need political parties with us, we need the media, we need civil society, we need what? So now, under security, the element of security, we work with the police. So if police in their wisdom have discovered that they need a sister agency to help them do their work, and maybe it is UPDF, maybe it is prisons, it is...
it is okay.
Whether in their mandate, they say, no, we need help. That is their role. They have assessed and they need that. So now, the best is, how does it come in? We ask the police, say, okay, they know how they are doing their work. So that is how we can explain to Michael. Then
I think, oh yeah, please, carry on.
Juma says, again, this is the mandate of those who implement security. In their wisdom, if they feel that maybe there is a threat that might be occasioned on any, because the law says you maintain peace and order and security. So, if they have assessed and they have discovered that no, we need Mr. Musiri to be safe, and said the best way for him to be safe is let us vacate him from this place to another. That isn't doing their work. Institutions must be allowed to do their work. And where us as Ugandans have not understood, especially like now, these interactions help us a lot. If an interruption next time, you can have police and you'll explain how come when you're doing your work, because we know you to be in charge. But during elections, we see you with other people. Then they will explain that no, we bring in these people, they are depending on this and
so,
that.
Talbot, your response, I just want to go back to Kawempe North recently. It was just a couple of weeks ago. The scale of violence and brutality that we saw meted out by the JATs and the other security agencies. When brutality goes to that extent, what is the role of the EC? Does the EC just keep quiet? Do you think you could have actually handled the situation much better? Because the fear most Ugandans have is just that Kawempe North was just a dressing rehearsal for what's to come in 2026. And I don't think going into a big event like 2026 with these kinds of fears and concerns is healthy for this country. I'd just like to hear from you as the Electoral Commission. Could you have done better? Do you think you actually didn't? You should have done something that you didn't do right?
As Electoral Commission, the engagement was there. We did what Electoral Commission would do. Electoral Commission had several meetings with all stakeholders, including police, to understand the how best we could handle the situation, and the engagements were there to of course, as Electoral Commission, we want a peaceful exercise.
Yeah, but you also have the mandate to call off an election if the scale of violence becomes unprecedented.
Yes.
You do that.
If it reaches that level.
So you felt that Kawempe had not reached that level?
No. We could still the situation. But we have results from Kawempe.
The results, but that doesn't mean the violence was okay.
No, we are not saying the violence was okay, but had not reached the scale of calling off an election, and the stakeholders were engaged.
Okay.
There are several meetings.
Stephen tells me we should be winding up by now. And they're just one issue here, the issue of commercialization of politics, playing to the disadvantage of many and to the advantage of the incumbents. Honorable Faith, I think you will talk about this because your party gave us a list recently of nomination fee structure, and the figures are quite crazy. National chairman from 10 million to 20 million, blah, blah, blah. Figures have almost doubled. What does this mean to those who have the leadership qualities and potential but do not have the money? Again, still with the commercialization of politics, we see money being used as a bargaining chip. We hear of bribes within parties for tickets and nominations, etc. And also, what are the 5 concerns? Now, this is for each of you. 5 concerns from each of you that you think need to be addressed internally, whether it's at the EC, at the political parties, etc., for a credible process ahead of 2026.
All right. On the issue of bribes to get favor in political parties, I think that should be discouraged. In fact, it should be reported. If someone asks for a bribe, it is better that you report that person and that person is shamed. But the bigger question of the commercialization of politics is something that the citizens in Uganda should deal with. It is not for a party matter. It is also not a matter that any other person can rectify except the voters themselves. As a matter of fact, the voters demand. They do demand, give me this, give me this, give me this. And even when you've gone to address them to express interest, the voters are quick to say, where is our share of some money? Now, when the voters are demanding for money, they've opened a window for anybody to procure them. In fact, voters should anyway, it is also wrong to blame the voters. I think the best way to handle this matter is the absence of civic education. The voters need to know their role. For as long as it continues the way it is now, where people expect to be paid to exercise their role as voters, as citizens of Uganda, we are likely to have people who will procure their way, but who don't deserve the position of leadership across the board. So the biggest challenge that we have as a country on this matter of politics is the absence of that civic education. Voters do not know the role of a member of parliament, the role of an LC1 chairman. They do not know. That's why you can even have someone elected who also doesn't know his job, but is in office. And you'll wonder what happened. In 1996, Electoral Commission had partnered with an organization called UPMAC to do civic education across the country. And I think it helped. But from that time, I have not seen really an organized civic education. Maybe it's a mandate the Electoral Commission must have left to civil society, or I don't know who is doing civic education in our country. As it is now, we are leaving it to the social media, those who can access phones, the elites. They want to look for information in the Electoral Commission website. And yet we know that it's rare even for elites to open a website. Very rare. So it means information is lacking across the board on what the electoral process means, the kind of quality of leaders. Now, in that absence, commercialization of politics is ripe.
Thank you.
Anyone can buy their seat.
Thanks. David, very quickly, we actually have to sign off in 2 minutes. Precisely. Yes. Sorry.
I think I just want to say to Michael that we have had several engagements with these MPs, and they have cautioned very many times before even coming public, and I basically believe that this happens in every party. We shall see how to harmonize at the end of the day. And then to the Electoral Commission, I think they are practicing double standards. They are very selective, but also the law is discriminative in nature. Because while he says that about those allegations of traffic, we have had incidences where the candidate of Chagulanyi was arrested on the day of nomination, actually at the venue on 3rd of November 2020. So, you know, some things do not actually, they just annoy. Some statements are baffling us so much. We believe what we require from them is to be in charge. We want to see their independence. That's all. We want to see their independence. Because if one of their roles is...
I'm asking you to wind up. We're running out of time.
If they can actually... it is their duty to call off an election if it goes violent. And he said just here, he was very assertive when he said that an election, as I have just always told people, it's not a one-day event. It's a process. Before you call off an election, then you must have had some engagements. Come out public in the public and tell that something is running berserk. Therefore, we should do something or warn them. You don't just call off an election.
Okay.
So I think they are just like she's saying that the civic space is shrinking in this country terribly. We don't, even some of the people don't know the role of EC.
Okay.
We don't see its role sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Tolbert, just wind up in a minute, but there's also a concern here. Does the EC have a plan to extend the exercise and maybe add more digital publicity? And another question, how do you disseminate some of the information you talk of here to local governments who have candidates that don't consume English?
Okay. Now, let's start with the last one. No, we are engaged. We have Electoral Commission staff up to the parish level, and these are in our districts. And one of our key roles is to do voter education. Get information, pin it at parish, at sub-county, at district level. That engagement is there. True, those who may not have time to go to the polling stations, they can check on our website, www.ec.or.ug/register. You can confirm your voter details from there. Then on true, we are doing a lot. We want to increase more on the awareness of our activities, but to also encourage everyone to visit our offices. We are in every district in the country.
Okay.
Get the roadmap, get the guidelines, and move with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you all, my panelists for today, Tolbert Musinguzi, David Musiri, and Honorable Faith Nakut, for making time and joining us on VPN today. My name is Judith Atim. We'll be back next Saturday. Until then, have yourselves a pleasant weekend.